Welcome back to the channel, everyone. It seems things are heating up again. We have more activity, and this is where it becomes important to ask why. Why is that happening? And then also keep in mind that just because someone tells you something, they can show you the tip of the iceberg, but there's always much more iceberg below the water. So the why becomes that much more important when we have that realization. Also, keep in mind everything that everyone from Ripple has said over these last few months about going after small, medium-sized businesses, about having this huge amount of central banks. That's what they allege. I mean, tell me the names of them and then we'll go a little further with that. But they claim that there's a lot more central banks they're working with that they haven't even named. They've said that. Keep that in mind when you hear this type of information. Now, this article is titled, Ripple CTO proposes XRPL upgrade as ledger hits 70 million monthly transactions. It says Ripple CTO David Schwartz shares plan to enhance XRPL, but I don't want to read it from that top piece there because they cut it off a little bit. Let's go down here. I want you to get the full gist of what he's saying. It says this. Ripple's Chief Technology Officer, David Schwartz, has unveiled a personal plan to boost the XRPL's infrastructure. Now, here's the interesting part about that. I told you, David Schwartz has for months, every 2 months, he comes out, he emphasizes how important XRP is, how it's the core of everything. And then he just came out recently, said, hey, listen, I know you believe otherwise because of RLUSD, but psst, it's just you and me here, right? No one else is listening. Hey, we're using XRP more than everything else by a lot. Why did he come out and say that? This is his baby. This is his masterpiece. He absolutely will not allow the XRPL to lose. And this is a brilliant man. I don't say that about everyone, but he indeed is one. He wants the XRPL to win. And now he's saying to himself, if everything that they allege was true, they have all these central banks. They have a bunch of commercial banks they're working with. They said that like twice last year. Remember that? They said it in 2023 as well. They just haven't named them. NDAs, right? Non-disclosure agreements. So central banks, commercial banks, they claim they're going after the small, medium-sized businesses, which according to my calculations, my estimation should be easy. They have their eye on RWA. You have all the businesses and banks claiming they want AI. Ripple has talked about advanced AI integration with their systems. We'll see what happens with that. They have to show. They have to prove it. But I think that they will. David Schwartz knows all of that. And he's saying, I'm not waiting. XRPL and XRP are number one. He wants all of that value. It's not about value with him, but he wants all that value to flow through the XRPL, through XRP, because when that price skyrockets, when the XRPL is being used nonstop and everybody's praising it, all the banks and companies are praising it for low cost, for interoperability, that's a trophy. That's a victory, the likes of which most people will never know. He wants the victories. You have to understand Genghis minds. Now, we benefit from that. Or rather, I can't say we. I don't know what people have out there. I don't know the people out there. Not everyone. I know the members. So getting that members only section. But those people who have XRP benefit from this because individuals like him, that this is his masterpiece and he wants it to win. Individuals like Brad Garlinghouse, who now... Is it true he has 2 tattoos? He got tatted with XRP twice. That means something. They want XRP to win. This is much more than just value. It's value also. It doesn't negate all those trillions. It doesn't negate the huge ocean of value that may come in. If they do their jobs correctly, that is. And it looks like they've been doing a pretty fine job, in my humble opinion. But this is a victory that no one could take from them. They've always wanted. They will make history. You have to understand Genghis minds, conquerors. They want victory more than anything. They want power. They want to be written in history and live forever. More than anything. Once again, that's great because it benefits every holder of XRP. Every holder. That fiery ambition to be number one, to be the best, to make a personal plan. So this is not coming from... He represents Ripple. He works for Ripple, but he's saying himself, you know what? Nope, it's not enough. It's not enough. I have some things some mechanisms in my genius mind that I'm going to sprinkle upon this XRP cake. Personally. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. See, things are getting interesting. A lot of things starting to add up, aren't they? Making a lot of sense. Let's keep going. It says, meanwhile, the ledger has surged in network activity, hitting 70 million transactions in July, which, according to articles, if we are to believe the article writers, my apologies, make sure I didn't cut off the microphone. A few times I hit the microphone and it just stopped recording audio, and like 3-4 videos were just done for. I couldn't use them. So I have to always check after I hit the microphone. But we read some articles, and it doesn't mean we have to believe article writers, but this is the information we have to work with. They're saying that institutions, you saw the articles, right? In the last like 3-4 days, institutions have been increasing their activity on the XRPL. You see what's going on in Dubai? Do you see that? I covered that like a video or two back. Folks, it's getting hot. They're talking about it months before, and then months later, we're seeing activity. This is starting to really heat up. That's what we want. That's what we want. Put the meat on the table and chop it up. Because it's almost time to eat. I get a little excited once in a while, you know. I have to appreciate these good days. I'm telling you right now. It continues. It says, Ripple CTO shares XRPL upgrade proposal. In a recent X post, David Schwartz revealed that he plans to deploy a new high-performance. Why? What's that for? High-performance XRPL server? What's that for? Is that for regular people? You tell me. And while you're telling me, take this hand, make them into some powerful fists right there. You have the power. I know you do. Take those fingers like this. All that power surging through your fingers, and boom. A little loud, not too loud, but a little loud. Provoke that energy and hit that like button a couple times. Just in case the first time you missed it. You might have missed it. We know. I don't know. You might make a mistake and miss that like button. Let's keep it going. The Ripple CTO highlighted his aim to create a dedicated hub featuring reserved slots for UNL validators and other XRPL connected devices. He further shared that this would have been his move, not in an official Ripple capacity. Exactly. Folks, this is huge. This is a huge indication of where everything is heading. It has to be going successfully, and there has to be so much business that he's aware of behind the scenes that he's saying to himself, you know what? Well, I'm not waiting. You know, all due respect to Ripple, they move pretty quickly, but nope, they're not moving fast enough. I'm going to do this on my own. Bring those banks in. They get me closer to victory. This is me speaking as though I'm David Schwartz. Bring those businesses in. Bring everybody in. I have something special for them. This is, mark my words, no one makes one chess move. This is just the first of his moves. There will be more. David Schwartz knows this is his time to shine. Amongst an ocean of brilliant minds, there are many. Only a few will shine. Only a few will make history. Only a few will put trillions into the pockets of people and entities around the world. Only a few. And that ensures, he knows, that ensures praise from the people. That ensures his spot in history. They all know this. Him, Lehman Bear, Charles Hoskinson. You see how they're scrambling to make their things the best of the best. Look how hard Charles Hoskinson's been working on Cardano. They know it's almost time. And they're putting pedal to the metal. Pedal to the metal. Let's keep going. I know where this is going. But let's keep going. Let's read this a little bit here. It says, his current proposed setup includes AMD 9950X CPU, 256 gigabytes of RAM, and fast NVMe storage. Hosted in a New York City data center with an unmetered 10 gigabyte connection, Schwartz emphasized that this would be a single production server built for reliability. However, he cautioned that the XRPL's decentralized design means no single server should ever become point of reliance. You think it's not? With him saying that, do you actually believe this is where it ends? I respect you out there. I respectfully have to disagree. Let's keep it going. Alongside running the server, Schwartz plans to gather data on network performance and behavior, though he noted he would avoid disruptive testing except under exceptional circumstances. What do you think he's doing with this performance and behavior data? The only time you collect that is if you're going to build and expand exponentially into the future. This is a first step. This is a test. But his the real masterpiece is yet to come, in my humble opinion. He knows what he's doing. And even though he's doing this on his own, no doubt about it, the rest of Ripple is in on it. This is how they work. This is how they work. This is how they separate things at times, so that no one becomes the wiser. Oh, it's just David doing it. What do you mean it's just David? David is the engine, the mind behind all of this. The architect. There is no, it's just David. This is just what he's doing. We'll keep up with that. Don't worry. We have more news here today, folks. Let's go here. So you have this article. And it's very interesting because I've been saying something similar, but it's not about the Fed. This article is let me read the title to you. The article is titled Robert Kiyosaki, although he's not alone in this type of thinking. But I get it. Clicks and views. His name is going to ring bells, I suppose. Robert Kiyosaki says the Fed is finished as crypto era rips through the system. But sir, that's not true. It's not all the way true, is it? Tell the truth. Let all the people know what we've been talking about here. It's not just the Fed. The Fed, their position is questionable now, is it not? And it will be increasingly questionable over the next 2 to 5 years. A lot of that value is going to come out of the Fed. It's going to flow through the bank coin system. It will dominate everything. The Fed knows it as well. That's why they have connections with a lot of the bank coin companies. Look it up. It's not just the Fed. It's also the IMF. Ooh, they don't want to talk about that. We covered that in a video like 2-3 videos back. Go watch it. The IMF. They're shaking in their boots. The ECB has come out and let it be known how they feel about stable coins and crypto, although they're forced to use it anyway. That's how powerful it is. They're forced to use it anyway. They have no choice. The entirety of the global financial system is changing right before your eyes, and you can see it. You don't have to speculate. You don't have to guess. You can do a little bit of research, a little bit of tippy-tappy on those keys right there. Some of you not doing that. You're not quiet typers. I know a lot of you just pounding those keys. When you type, everybody can hear it. I do that too. I got to tell you, I do that too. When I'm in the zone, I'm typing very hard, but fast. I'm not a slow typer. I type fast though. A little loud, but fast. But anyway, you do a little bit of research and you can observe this yourself. So we got the Fed. It's not just that they want you to focus on the Fed because they don't want you to see the global picture, the global domination. They want all the crypto to themselves. Make no mistake about it. They try to focus you on the Fed and they try to focus you on Bitcoin. Tell me I'm lying, and I will humbly, I have to respectfully, I almost said disrespectfully. I have to respectfully disagree with you. Because they want you looking there and not seeing the global picture. Trillions that can be scaled. Can be. Doesn't mean it's guaranteed. So we don't need to debate. I'm not here to sway anyone or debate anyone. All right? But I am here to ask you, click that like button right now. Click that like button. But anyway, that was smooth how I got that in there, right? Well, come on now. You might not like how it really doesn't matter. I'm going to execute it either way. But that was smooth how I got that in there. I'm improving. Every day I improve. But anyway, they want you looking at Bitcoin and the Fed because they know it can be scaled into quadrillions, people. This is not a joke. And you know what's funny? I wish they can't do it because they have contracts. They can't do it. They have NDAs. But mark my words, in the next 2 to 3 years, a lot of those researchers, we all know each other. The ones that are working for the big money people that know behind the scenes, same thing I'm telling you. They're telling them. They're going to start coming out. If they don't, but I believe it. I believe it. There's something huge here, and it's being suppressed. Not everyone's going to stay quiet. You're going to start to hear a lot of those paid researchers come out and telling you the same thing over the next few years. Mark my words. I mean, look, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm not psychic, but I'm just saying. There's no way this can be kept a secret. The entire global system, the new financial system will be the underlying substantial layer that connects everything together. They let you know before, folks. Didn't they tell you? They said, what did they say? Their verbiage. Give me a moment. I'm trying to get that back in my mind. What they used to say. They want this like one world thing. They want this where everything functions together, but they just can't do it because they're too fragmented. They're too apart. How can they achieve that? The only way they get a semblance of that one world thing is if they have a substantial layer. Where does it come from? What has the interoperability? What has the cheapness? The new financial system. That's why they're going to do everything that they can in the next few months. Pay attention to that. Everything was so great, so good. All this positive news. Out of nowhere, you're going to begin to see negative news if what I'm saying is correct. I'm telling you, and just pay attention to it. If the negative news does not make any logical sense, if it does not negate any major catalyst, if it goes in the face of everything that they're working for, their higher ups, their politicians, if it goes against that, then you know it's a smokescreen. Because they want to get in position. They must turn heads away. They must make you look that way while they work this way. Make you look at the pennies over here while they're scooping up the trillions over here. They have to do it, I'm telling you. So no, it's not just the Fed. He said the Fed is finished as crypto era rips through the system. That is accurate. It is. I won't say it's ripping through the system now. It's weaving its way into the lifeblood of the system. Absorbing the system. You haven't seen anything yet. We're not completely unleashed just yet because they're not in position. You know how we know they're not in position yet? I'm talking about the companies and the banks because they still have deadlines to meet. One, and those deadlines have to do with coming into alignment with certain regulations and standards. We're not even talking about the deployment of the technology yet. The mass deployment of the technology is to come at some point in the future. Mick, when? How would I know that? I don't work for Ripple and these people. It's just a logical escalation of events. You'll have to watch just like I'm watching. One of us is going to see it first. You may see it. I may see it. What difference does it make? But we're going to observe it. That's important. We're going to see it for ourselves, and then we'll know. But right now, the mass deployment of the technology hasn't happened. They're still trying to make regulations and things like that and legislation and clear that up. Who's going to decide what? The SEC, the CFTC, they're still trying to decide that. And while there has been progress made, we're not all the way there yet. So if you're saying is ripping through the system now, no, I have to disagree with that. But I see where you're coming from. You're a little excited, but it's weaving its way into the system. It will absorb the entirety of the system over the next few years. And you're going to start to see that value come in because of it. Because of it. If they do their jobs, it's inevitable. Not financial advice. Make your own decision. I only speak for myself. I'm going to make that clear. I am but a humble researcher. So now, okay, so we have that. I just wanted to touch on that because that was interesting that now we're having a lot of individuals coming out saying things like this. I've been saying that about the IMF and the Fed for years. For years. The videos are still up. You can go watch them. Let's go here. All right. We don't want to leave out the big dog, Bitcoin. Right. Don't want to leave that out. They're playing games with Bitcoin, but all along they're accumulating the Bitcoin. You see that? I told you it would happen. They're trying to get people to sell, and the people are selling, especially the OGs, the long time holders selling while the companies are buying. So if the companies are buying at these prices, obviously they're expecting a much higher price. This article is titled Bitcoin Set to Hit $189,000 as global liquidity tops $127 trillion. This is coming from some analysts. I guess they're going to name them inside the article. But once again, make sure you do your own numbers, do your own research, a little Google search, or now people are using the AI. Use your AI. Whatever way you can get the information, acquire the information, right? And then look at the numbers for yourself. But they're saying global liquidity tops $127. $127, my word. $127 trillion. Did I say that before? My apologies if I did not. I beg your pardon. All right, so here we go. All right, folks. It says, according to a report by digital asset firm CoinShare. So there you have it. You can go look at that for yourself if you see fit. Bitcoin could see a surge of more than 65% from today's price if it wins just a small slice of major monetary pools. Now, that's what I like to hear. Talk these solid things to me, right? I like solid catalysts. At its current level, just above $113,500, that jump would take Bitcoin up to about $189,000. It's a simple idea with big implications based on reports global liquidity known as M2, which is highly questionable. Once again, look at those numbers for yourself. Look at them by country also. All right. Is sitting roughly at roughly $127 trillion, while all mined gold adds up to almost $24 trillion. CoinShares applies a so-called total addressable market, TAM, model to those figures. It continues here. If Bitcoin captures 2% of global M2 and 5% of gold's market cap, the sum points to a $189,000 price tag. It doesn't assume Bitcoin will take over corporate treasuries or Forex reserves, yet even that limited reach could send prices much higher. You want to add them bank coins in there, I'm telling you, they're doing, folks, they're talking about treasuries and treasuries on the XRPL. You have people just doing outright just crypto treasuries, Solana treasuries, XRP treasuries. There's going to be more. There's going to be more to come. So keep that in mind. Others will get a piece. It won't just be Bitcoin winning, but Bitcoin definitely will have its major W's. It says, many in the crypto crowd like how clear it is. You look at the size of cash and gold markets. You pick some modest targets. Then you do the math. This person sounds like me. It shows that winning tiny slivers of those pools could be very rewarding. Who wrote this? Wait a minute. Let me scroll to the top, folks. The person sounds a lot like what I'm trying to say. They just phrased it differently. Really? This is coming from News BTC, but why would you not put the author? Let us know who the author is so they can get their credit. They did a good job. See, when you let us know who the author is, not just the website, we can start to go to those articles again because we know they're going to be high quality. Well, but that's how they do it, I guess. Wow. I wanted to know who wrote it. It says here, CoinShares leans on data from the World Gold Council, as a lot of us do. Trading economics and Glassnode to keep the numbers fresh. The big pools aren't static, but they do highlight the scale of what's out there. This method skips over many real hurdles. Regulation could slow adoption. New digital coins might offer competing features. Shifts in interest rates can shrink or swell M2 overnight. Even gold's market value can dip if miners sell or central banks offload bars. There's always this rise and fall in what they're doing with the central banks, but one will stop buying, one will start buying. That's been a back and forth like that for the last 2.5, 3 years. So that has developed a certain pattern. I wouldn't rely on that pattern too much, but it has been consistent. I will say till now. That doesn't mean it's going to be consistent tomorrow or the month after that or the year after that. That's why I try to stay on my toes. All right. Okay. So that makes any model's timeline shaky. Challenges and timelines based on projections. Bitcoin's share of these markets might creep up over the next decade. That assumes steady gains in user trust, clearer rules from governments, and smoother ways for big institutions to buy and hold crypto. And you can see that happening already. States are going to be involved heavily with Bitcoin. We know the federal government is doing that. Other countries are following suit, and it's only going to grow. My apologies. I was trying to scroll down and it just froze for some reason. If that path holds, hitting 2% of global liquidity and 5% of gold could be realistic. But if policies shift or fresh tech disappoints, the club could stall. The climb could stall. What is going on? You made the mistake, not me. I didn't make that mistake. I didn't misread it. You misread it. I'm put the blame on you. Shoulder some of the blame. Whether Bitcoin reaches $189,000 will depend on a mix of policy. It can go beyond 189,000. At this point now, given all the catalysts, what we can actually observe, it can go past 189,000. It's just a matter of when, and that'll be told by observation. You can observe when companies are making certain moves. Also watch what mainstream is pushing. These big time websites are pushing. I think that because some of their articles have a little bit of lag in when they're releasing them, and it depends on how much sway they still have over retail. I think there could be some lag in retail movement. I do, because of that. But once again, it's something you just have to observe. If there is lag in retail retail activity because of the manipulation from the mainstream medias, the major media sources, then that gives a little bit of room for different ways to play with Bitcoin around these prices. There's going to be profit taking. There's going to be dips for sure. But who knows who is a swing trader, day trader, long-term holder? Who knows? Everyone has to make that decision on their own. I'm just saying there may be some wiggle room in there because of that. Use the tools that are in front of you. In my humble, that's how I look at things. Whatever tools are in front of me, I'm considering my options. I'm considering all of them. Right. Some people limit themselves. I'm not certain why, but okay. To each his own. It says, for now, the TAM view gives a neat snapshot. Does that make sense? For now, it's like just being adjustable. That's all I'm saying. I try to be as adjustable as possible, not financial advice. For now, the TAM view gives a neat snapshot of what could happen if the top coin starts grabbing those market shares. All right, we know. So now we have another source that is pretty much indicating that Bitcoin, there's a massive explosion yet still to come, which I'm happy that they said that, because it backs up what I was trying to convey the other day. So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, everybody, let's get to the money.